Okay, so it seems like we have some pretty big news coming from some other VTubers in the community that have actually kind of chimed in on this whole Cinder drama. Now, if you don't know, Cinder has been involved in some pretty horrible stuff. For example, going behind her friends, going behind other VTubers, artists, and etc. And pretty much just backstabbing them and just being a horrible person in general. Now, obviously, yeah, this is terrible and it's kind of shook the entire community recently. And it seems like, you know, obviously a lot of people did get involved, for example, like Shy Lily and Cottontail, Silverveil, you know, all of these people were personally affected by this. There's also some other VTubers that also got involved that weren't personally affected, but were, you know, very sympathetic to the cause, like Buff Pup and people like that, who were, you know, pretty much going after her, which I think, yeah, I totally think is great. And it seems like, you know, a lot of people have kind of understood the situation that is going on and are kind of holding Cinder accountable for what she has done to all of these people. But I haven't actually heard any kind of responses from some of the other kind of VTubers in the space, which I know the main reason is to stay out of drama. And I feel like, you know, this is going to come across as very easy to see that they are trying to avoid drama whenever we look at these clips, which I think is totally okay, because obviously that is their brand. They don't want to bring any of this into it. And honestly, it is better if you just stay away from this stuff if you are a VTuber yourself, as long as you're not involved. Obviously, a lot of the people involved in it currently, you know, they do have to kind of get involved because they were personally almost like attacked by them. So, you know, it is, you know, their kind of decision to do that. But one of the responses I wanted to look at was from Ironmouse, which obviously Ironmouse is one of the biggest kind of VTubers, I'd say, in the EN space at the moment. And yeah, let's just take a look at it and then we'll talk about it.
Hey Mousy, I'm sorry for being late to the stream, but I wanted to see if you're doing okay in light of recent events.
Bruh. Thank you so much for the bits.
Again, I think she was trying to avoid it for most of the stream. I think that, you know, obviously it's probably better if she does avoid it most of the stream, and this chatter has just gone ahead and TTS'd it and pretty much made it public, and, you know, you can't really avoid the TTS now. It's kind of awkward. So, yeah.
Let me think about this. Cyclodon is amazing, and I love Cyclodon! I love Cyclodon!
She's trying to make it positive, which I think is
Chicken
great.
jockey.
2 million next year, that would be amazing. Chicken jockey! Chicken jockey! No, but in all seriousness, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like getting involved in stuff. And I don't like... I'm just living my life, bros. I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life, guys. I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life. I'm just living my life. However, I will say one thing. There is only one thing that I will say. There's only one thing that I will say. Okay? And that is, bounce on it. Yeah, guys, there's one thing I want to say, and that's bounce on it. Crazy style. And that's bounce on it. Crazy style. All I can say is support artists. Support your artists. Support artists, bros. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Support artists. And I just... Listen. I'm very happy that, there's a wonderful, amazing person named the Gyroscopic Tree that made an incredible website that is dedicated to every single model that I've ever had, every single model that got made, and has information regarding...
So again, as you can see, you know, the main kind of takeaway from this clip is the fact that, you know, she doesn't want to get too involved into the kind of intricacies of whatever went on with Cinder, stuff like that, which I think is totally fine. And obviously she just goes ahead and says, you know, support love of the artist, because again, Cinder kind of screwed over an artist big time there, obviously the artist being nanoless. And then she goes on to talk about her kind of artist and how amazing they are. So I think that's a good response to kind of take from it, especially if you don't want to get involved in a lot of the kind of drama stuff that is going on. I mean, I don't think it is like super drama just to talk about it and just to be like, hey, you know, this stuff isn't okay. I do wish that maybe she should have said like a little bit more, but I do understand, you know, why she doesn't want to get involved in any of this at all, because it doesn't really help her out anyway, and she wasn't personally attacked by her or anything. So honestly, I do think it's good response there. But also, on the other end of things, Filian also replied to this, also being one of the biggest EN VTubers, I'd say, out there, especially in the 3D kind of aspect of things. Kind of go on the opposite end of the response. You know, Ironmouse is just like, okay, yeah, let's kind of like avoid it, whereas she goes a bit more direct.
Are you dating your manager? Yes, chat. I am dating my mythic manager. You know how it is, boys. It is what it is. Hey, it is what it is, boys. Yep. I'm dating my assigned manager from Mythic. You know what? I never understood, like, never mind. Like, whatever. Okay, anyway. Yeah. My boyfriend's really romantic. He DMs me all the
Again, you know, I feel like Filian, she is very chaotic whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. And it's very funny to see her, like, trying to hold it in and trying to be like, okay, no, we can't talk about this. Can't talk about it. And then just, like, completely goes off the rails.
time. He's like, Filian, you forgot to do the sponsor today. And I'm like, haha, but I'm sponsoring you. And he's like, no, you're getting fired. So I'm like, dude, hey, it's just business, right? And he's like, haha, no. It's a great relationship. I really love not being single. So yeah, Chad, that's called true love. He puts up with me, you know? So I respect that. The manager's a toilet. Yeah, puts up with a lot of okay.
I'll do the hot sauce anyway, because none of my hot sauce was really like whatever.
Wait, really?
I'll just, yeah, just for you.
For the
I have one
content?
last for the content.
Yeah!
Damn, you have to die by the sauce. I am sorry, little panda. It is just business. Also, Filian, stop drinking water with spicy stuff.
Stop! Why are you lecturing me?
Oh, she went back to you. Wait,
I
let
know.
me shake it.
Again, that was another common phrase that's been kind of mentioned in the VTuber community quite a lot, is the "it's just business" phrase. If you don't know, and a lot of the Google Docs that have been going on, they talk about like "it's just business" because that is the way that Cinder has been kind of talking to a lot of these people and has been kind of taking the approach on whatever is going on, which I think is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you haven't.
And now it's also
swapped
been
up
memed
so
on,
much.
which is great.
Okay, I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared.
Okay, you
I'm
ready?
really bad with spicy.
You
I'm
ready to
kinda
go?
scared. I'm kind of scared.
Stop
Dude, it's lingering.
Microplastics.
Dude, why? You know what? Hot
Microplastics.
take. How come fucking Korean spicy just hurts? It doesn't even taste good. It just hurts.
Because you're all masochists.
Oh my god.
Final answer. Oh, what is this?
The only thing that is going to be running is deemed to Google Docs to talk after that hot sauce. alone.
Okay.
So again, as you can see here, chat seems to also be kind of instigating a lot of this kind of stuff too. And I think that's the main factor as to why we're seeing a lot of these other VTubers talking about this now, is due to the fact that, you know, chat want them to talk about it. Chat want them to kind of like address whatever is going on, want them to make jokes about it, want them to do whatever. And essentially, I think they are trying to turn it into a more positive thing and make jokes out of it and kind of, you know, kind of heal the community, I guess, because obviously there's been a lot of terrible stuff that's happened. We've already seen a lot of the responses, a lot of the very sad responses from people like Shy Lily and other people like that who, yeah, have been pretty much backstabbed by, you know, a very close friend. And they're kind of turning it into something like a little bit like lighter, where they're making jokes like it's just business and that, you know, oh, this person's going to make a whole Google Doc on you. And I've even seen people over on Twitter, for example, I think it was like Megalodon, VT. They actually had a Google Doc made on them by someone. I'm guessing it was a friend or something like that. And obviously, like me and some other people were looking at it, and we thought, oh god, not again. We've got even more Google Docs coming out. Turns out it was a joke. It was just a joke, and you know, they were like, you got the Google Doc and it was just like entirely a joke, which honestly I think is funny. And I think that people are trying to turn this into something a little bit lighter and just trying to make it a little bit, I guess, like better for the community in general, because obviously if we just keep harping on the fact that, oh, you know, this was very sad and things like that, then, you know, the community is just going to be sad in general. So I think people making, you know, jokes about it like this and just kind of, you know, moving away from it is actually really good. And, you know, I've got another video that I wanted to kind of make on this tomorrow, which will be coming out, talking about how some of these VTubers have actually been affected by this in the future and how they're going to kind of move forwards, which honestly I think could be very interesting. But yeah, those were the two responses that I saw from this. As I said, you know, we haven't really seen much response from some of these other VTubers, which again, you know, that's for whatever reason, just not getting involved in drama and stuff, which is totally understandable. It would be nice to see a little bit more support towards some of the VTubers that were affected, but again, you know, they could do whatever they want, you know, they're their own person there. So yeah, essentially that is pretty much the response that we've had from Ironmouse and Filian there, talking about that kind of stuff. Obviously one of them kind of being a little bit more like, okay guys, I don't really want to talk about it, but like, you know, just support artists kind of thing, to Filian being like, yeah, I'm dating my manager and, you know, he gives me business decisions because it's just business. So yeah, that's essentially the response. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that these clips are funny? Do you think that, you know, obviously they make a good point about what is going on with the whole Cinder stuff, because again, I do think it is kind of funny that they are making light of the situation now and just turning it into a little bit more of a positive thing and more of a joke in the community. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, go to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.